Dear viewer, what would you do if someone very close to you, someone who means the world to you, a spouse, a friend, a sibling, was no longer around due to self-removal, if you know what I mean, after being viciously defiled by someone in a position of power who never faced any consequence for such behavior? The answer to that horrible, horrible question may probably be today's subject, as the character we will focus on today is perhaps one of Gotham's most tragic figures. Today, we take a close look at Pagan, Gotham's most broken hero. Pagan made her debut on June of '92 in Batman 479 in a story simply titled Pagan, where a businessman, Robert Buick, is found naked and bound after having been missing for weeks. Robert had been submitted to major violence and severe torture. Both Batman and Commissioner Gordon noticed that Robert, who frenetically refused to be treated by female staff, had clear signs of a different type of torture. The type of torture that I really don't want to go into depth right now, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Punisher who? Anyways, when another powerful man is abducted, Batman is able to make out the connection between the two men, finding out that these two men were involved in a brutal attack towards an underage girl, Pagan's sister, Sandra, but not before getting away with it scot-free due to their wealthy status, while Sandra's family, a working middle-class household, were completely shattered after such an atrocity, which led Sandra to self-delete. After this tragedy, Sandra's sister, Marianne, devoted her life to getting revenge and hunting down vile, disgusting men, training herself to peak human perfection, creating the mantle of Pagan. With this information, Batman finds Pagan's hideout, and a brief fight ensues. But when Pagan is unable to take down Batman, she tries to flee, only to fall on Batman's trap. The story ends with Batman's disgust over the man he just rescued. After this, Pagan reappeared during the 90s Bloodlines event in Batman Shadow of the Bat Annual #1, helping Batman and Joe Public take down the alien parasite Gemmer, who was feeding off of people in Gotham, though this time around, Pagan proved to be far more contained and focused compared to her first appearance, becoming quite an outstanding ally, even going as far as making Batman respect her skills. Her next and last appearance was nothing more than a cameo as an Arkham inmate and the background character on the Ryan Stuk miniseries, Arkham Living Hell. Speaking of which, I'm sorry, but Pagan does not belong in Arkham at all. But you be the judge. Do you think she belongs in Arkham? Now, the thing that sets Pagan apart from other vigilantes, aside from those muscles, come on, just look at those guns, is her willingness to go where no other crime fighter has dared to go. Not even Huntress, who is quite famous for being extremely brutal, or even Jason Todd, who is easily the roughest in the Bat family. There are those who argue that Pagan is a misunderstood hero, which is in part true. Underneath everything, Pagan is a broken woman who basically had to rebuild herself when she was at the lowest point in her life. But here's the thing, while I can understand beating up and going extremely rough on someone, the kind of torture that Pagan implemented is just too extreme for my taste. Although I simply can't deny that it was quite successful, because just as Pagan's sister Sandra was devastated after the attack, that she could no longer handle being around men, including her own father, the same thing happened to her sister's attackers, as Pagan was able to provoke the same trauma for the perpetrators, making them feel unsafe around women, even making them refuse being around females, ensuring that they will never ever repeat the offense ever again. Now, is that tragic? Yes, but it's also highly poetic. Speaking of tragic poetry, there is a film I adore and highly recommend, which pretty much reflects Pagan's story, and it's Sally Fields and Kiefer Sutherland's Eye for an Eye from 1996. in which a grieving mother, failed by the American justice system, has to resort to other methods to get the justice she deserves. Except in this film, it's completely grounded and realistic, so don't expect to see Sally Field running around wearing spandex or showing any cleavage. Now, while this film is not a masterpiece, I still love it and I highly recommend it. With a warning though, this is a brutal film, but I promise it's also highly satisfying. Pagan is one of the best examples of being able to rebirth or reinvent, even at the ruins of innocence, and at the lowest point in someone's life, being able to find a new purpose and then renaissance, which is highly admirable. Pagan also deserves a lot of credit for all the progress she made, and for just how quickly she was able to find the proper balance, going from vicious vigilante to righteous hero, something that other heroes took much longer to achieve. Pagan opens up a very interesting debate. For example, just how far is too far, and where should one draw the line? I'd love to hear what you think about this. Or better yet, what would you have done in Pagan's place? As always, you're more than welcome to disagree with anything I said, just please be respectful. Let's all show we got some class. Oh, on the previous video, a smart and clever viewer kindly suggested recommended reading for the characters the videos focus on. So for anyone interested in Pagan, I recommend checking out Batman 479, which is her first appearance, as well as Batman Shadow of the Bat Annual number 1, which is her second and last appearance outside of cameos, flashbacks, and mentions. Now, dear viewer, I apologize if today's subject was a little heavy, or if what I asked at the beginning was too harsh of a thing to imagine. The topics from now on will be much lighter, really. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Be safe and well.
Muscle, really big muscles, that's what I wanna be. Muscle, really big muscles, that's what I wanna be.